Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Learning Coach Academy for today, which is Tuesday, October 10th. I am Rebecca McAlpine, Director of Engagement, and I am one of your hosts for today's fun. Of course, we have our brand new orientation coordinator, brand new to that position, definitely not brand new to Compass, but Christina Vert is also here with me today, and both of us will be here and present soon enough. Christina will take over the reins and be leading Learning Coach Academy throughout this school year. And today we are going to talk together here about a couple of different topics. We are going to talk over our mission and vision and values. Of course, we'll talk about the MMU as we do on every single Learning Coach Academy. Then we'll continue our Learning Coach Academy and ParentSquare overviews and deep dives. In the first info session that we had it kind of in partnership with our counseling department. So we did have a brief overview of LCA and ParentSquare at that time. Today, we'll dive a little bit deeper into both those topics for today's session, and of course, answer any questions that you might have now that we have been in Learning Coach Academy for a little while now. This is being our third week. We'll also talk through today if there's additional topics that have come to your mind that you would like us to cover in Learning Coach Academy. We know that you submitted those via the registration form as well, but we'll talk about them here today briefly. And then, as always promised, we will have the Q&A session at the end. So our mission and vision, always want to pause, reflect, and take a moment to remember that our mission and vision lead and guide our work here at Compass. Similarly, our core values of achievement, respect, teamwork, integrity, and communication are essential to everything that we think, say, and do here at Compass for all of us, not just for our scholars. Alrighty, so at every single Learning Coach Academy, we always take a moment to review the MMU. This one, MMUs are Monday morning updates. They come out every single Monday morning. If you did not get yours yesterday, please make sure that you submit an IT help desk ticket to make sure that you are all set up in ParentSquare. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, please stick around after and I will answer all of those questions related to any of the things I just said. Help desk ticket, IT, MMU, ParentSquare. Oh, there's so much. If you're watching the recording, this information is for those who are here live. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording and jump back into the recording here in a moment. Great. Well, there you have it. That was our MMU for those watching the recording and for those watching live. And for those here live, if you have any questions about the MMU, you're more than welcome to drop them in the chat right now. I also will happily answer those at the end of today's session as well. Alrighty, so as you may recall from the very first Learning Coach Academy session, we did this kind of general overview about LCA, but I do notice that there are some new names here that weren't here in that first session. So first of all, welcome, so glad you're here. Second of all, just a quick rundown again of the general overview about Learning Coach Academy. We have a topic session. So today's a topic session where we're presenting some helpful information. Then we have social sessions where we have conversations guided around certain topics. We also provide a chance for learning coaches to always connect at the end of every session as well as during those social sessions. Certificates are what we're going to talk about on the next slide a little bit more in depth so that nobody's surprised come the end of the school year. And of course, we want to focus our content on your needs. And we also have a ParentSquare group that everybody's a part of. These are some of the sessions that we are looking at hosting this year. On not the next slide, but the slide after, we're going to see if there's additional information that you would like to see potentially covered and if we can fit that in anywhere. So if you can just take a quick gander here at the offerings, the overviews and the deep dives are what we're doing right now between the last session and this session at that second or at that third bullet point. And then following that, we'll talk about learning coach responsibilities and expectations. We already did the college and career readiness counseling learning lab. We'll also attend later on in the school year one presented by the counseling learning team or learning lab team about depression. And we'll talk through individualized learning at home, SMART goals, engagement, testing tips and tricks, IT tips and tricks, and more. So if there's, in addition to what you submitted on the registration form and also that list there, we'd love to hear it. If there's something else that you'd like for us to try and offer, we'll do that in not the next slide, but the slide after. Okay, so LCA certificate. So in all of the descriptions you ever saw about Learning Coach Academy, the certificate is usually described or explained to some degree. So I just want to make sure that everybody else here is well aware of all things LCA certificate. So It's a tracker, and it's usually shared out towards the end of the school year. Although if you'd like to receive it sooner, that is very much so possible. At the end of the school year, when it's shared out, it has direct links to all the recordings. It's a one-stop shop for all things Learning Coach Academy. And so that version obviously is dependent upon it being the end of the school year. But if you'd like a different version of it, of course, you can see that sooner. What it is if you attended live, you just sign off that you attended that session live. If you watch the recording, you sign off that you watched the recording. And you have to count all the way up to 10 of the offered topic sessions to be able to receive that certificate. So, and then there's a virtual certificate that is emailed prior to the start of next school year, indicating that you completed all things Learning Coach Academy and that you earned the Learning Coach Academy certificate for the school year. Alrighty, so I will go ahead and open up the mic here to see if there's any LCA topic requests. I'll go ahead and pause the recording so that you don't like pop back up on the recording or anything as you're sharing these ideas. So if you're watching the recording, there'll just be a quick hesitation here, and I'll share a summary when we jump back on. Already had a great time talking through topic requests and just in general LCA. We had a great conversation surrounding the LCA tracker and what can we do to make that experience even more robust. And so what we are going to look to do is create like just a template one. So if you want to take your own notes, you can print it out, take your own notes. We're also going to have a Google Doc that's going to be updating and constantly cataloging those recordings as they become available throughout the school year. And then at the end of the school year, we'll convert that to a PDF and have all those LCA library recordings ready to go for that final end of year tracker. So whether you're a wait to the end of the year person or whether you are like already feeling the struggle that you didn't have it for the last couple of weeks, either way, we're going to meet you in the middle there and get that tracker squared away. We also had a request from one of our Learning Coach Academy participants here saying, just would love to hear more information about how to structure the school week. And so Christine and I will talk through how to make sure that finds a home in one or multiple or its own session. So again, if you submitted topics on the registration form, thank you. If you have more topics you would love to see covered, please don't hesitate to email either myself or Christina to make sure that we can continue to do our best to incorporate whatever we can, wherever we can. In that first session, we talked a little bit about all things ParentSquare. So ParentSquare is our communication tool here at Compass that's district-wide. If you have any trouble with it, you can always submit a help desk ticket. I am going to go through a live walkthrough now. So if you are watching the recording, then you might want to just pause and kind of review this slide, maybe take a moment to look that over. If you would love that live walkthrough, I'm happy to schedule a one-on-one with you, or of course, Christina could as well. But for now, if we had to skip over the live walkthrough in that initial session we had with counseling. And so we're going to pause here, do a quick little live walkthrough, and then continue on. And the reason, again, why I paused the recording for the MMU and why I'll pause the recording for this here now is because everything behind the ParentSquare doors is for enrolled families only. And so we are going to just go ahead and continue to protect that information. And so I'm going to pause the recording and we'll get into that. Alrighty, that wrapped up our live ParentSquare tour. We talked about things about how to navigate the calendar, how to participate in groups, how to just get the most out of ParentSquare. And so if you have any questions regarding ParentSquare, please don't hesitate to reach out. I also just got a question in the chat, so I'm going to pause to answer that. One of the things that we talked about are some of our events in ParentSquare. And so a question was, how does prepayment work for some of the events? And the payment information is always included, as well as all things related to financials are always included on each of the calendar items. And there's a form that's to register. And that form, as I mentioned in the live tour, so for those here live, it's kind of a repeat, but for those watching the recording, it's maybe new information to you. The form is specifically designed and held in the system that it is in. So that's a one-stop shop for registration, and the form is smart enough to know what event you are registering for. And if you are registering for an event that has a financial aspect attached to it, then there's a certain part of the form that unlocks and lets you pay and or review the financial information right there on the form. So it's all embedded in that registration form. And then once you register successfully, you can come back over and RSVP on ParentSquare. Now, I would love to hear something good, but I would also love to hear your questions because we only have 4 minutes before the Counseling Learning Lab starts. That's being sponsored by NAMI. So I don't want to prevent anybody from going. So if you don't have any questions, I'm sure you have lots of good things to say. But if you don't have any questions, I won't say if you don't have anything good to say. Then that wraps up the session for today, because sometimes questions can get a little intricate and detailed. I go ahead and pause the recording. So if you're watching the recording, thank you for viewing this one. We're excited to continue doing life with you, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.